And I said, let me just stop and take a little pause and answer any questions people who want to know about off-grid living. Um, there's a lot of stigma to off-grid living lifestyle, to the prepper lifestyle, and a lot of people have questions, so if you have any questions, I'm going to be here, for a little while, and going to just take your questions and try to address it, because I think that off-grid living is something that everybody should be doing, even if you're on grid. You know what I mean? What I mean is, like, you can have in this situation, you can have your cake and eat it too. You can be on the grid and at the same time have a really good backup, sustainable backup plan for yourself if the grid ever goes down. Um, so I think it's important. I think it's something that is very valuable, and I think everybody should take this mentality, um, and learn from this and try to live renewably. Um, it's fun. It's fun to a certain degree. It's kind of like a hobby too. So I think it's very enjoyable. Very enjoyable. More so, it's more so enjoyable when you don't have to go off grid. You know what I mean? So like that, you actually have more time and you're more relaxed and you can develop. Now, there are some little things that you will only learn once you're totally off the grid. I mean, and it happened to me when I was still on the grid, but I was building my system. I thought I had it figured out until the moment that the real power was taken off. Then I'm like, oh crap, another learning curve. And it's like you realize what you don't know at that moment, and you find the adjustments and you start doing it, and then everything kind of balances out afterwards, and you get a better understanding of living off grid. When I say I live off grid, what I mean is in terms of electric and solar. Basically, I live totally renewable, off grid in terms of water and solar. Um, so basically, I'm not connected to the water company or to the electric company. And we do our rainwater harvesting, filtering, and reverse osmosis and everything. So we have all of the comforts and none of the bills. Um, a lot of people, they think that just because you live off grid, you're doing without. Not at all. I mean, I have everything. I have everything. The only thing I can say that I do not have off grid is off grid air conditioning, and the reason being is that air conditioning, especially in such a hot place like Puerto Rico, would be a very, very power hungry thing. So I am going to do that. Later on, like that's my next step. I'm gonna build a system exclusively just for air conditioning. With no other uses. It's gonna have its own batteries, its own little inverter, its own solar panels, exclusively to run air conditioning. Like that, I won't affect the balance of my other home system that runs everything else. So it can be done. It's not a big deal. It's not rocket science, guys. I just like doing things separately so as to not affect my current system, and at the same time not to overwork the system or not to overwork the batteries, and to have at the same time redundancy. Because if I have, let's say, for give you an example, let's say I have a separate system that can handle air conditioner, and for some reason my main system goes down, then instead of the air conditioner, hey, I could run the entire house with the air conditioning solar system while I repair or fix or whatever I have to do with the main system. So, you know, I'm just here, to let you guys know. If you guys log on, I mean, I know it's kind of early. A lot of people are at work. But if you have any questions about living off grid, um, you can ask me. I'll let you know as much as, teach you as much as I can. But I think it's really important because of the times we're living in, guys. Right now, if we have a situation like what happened in Flint, Michigan, that the water was contaminated. You know, it's things like that. Like right now, where I'm at, if the water gets contaminated, it doesn't affect me. You know what I mean? I could care less because I don't depend on the water company. You know what I'm saying? I don't depend on them. My water is from rain, so it's not contaminated, and I filter it myself. So that's the benefit that I have. If there's a hurricane and the power goes out, well, at least my house will have power. My refrigeration, have refrigeration. I have everything independent of the system. Now, what would happen? Let's say I decide to go back on grid. No big deal. I'll just stay living exactly the way that I am, and my electric bill would be minimal, would be just basically the basics, because I wouldn't even be using the electric, really. So, or if I go back on grid, then I would just run the air conditioner, so I could see my bill, and I'd know exactly how much it is. I'm like, you know um, the electric here in Puerto Rico has gone up so much. We are the highest electric. We're charged the highest electric in the entire nation. It's ridiculous here in Puerto Rico. So I think a lot of people that live here in Puerto Rico, they're gonna have to go off grid. They're gonna have to. You know, they're gonna have to go off grid and kind of live like a hybrid lifestyle, because that can be done. Because if they don't, they're gonna be suffocated paying for these electric bills. It's too much, and every single time they're raising it more, raising it more. I mean, the people of Puerto Rico, we're not a wealthy, island. I mean, there are wealthy people living here, but the vast majority is just regular working class, and you know, basically minimum wage is what everybody gets paid here. Now they raised the minimum wage to, I believe, $8, 8.50, something like that. But they raised the electric $30 a month. You see what I'm saying? So, what did you gain? You didn't gain anything. Um, but that's what's happening, at least here in Puerto Rico. But the whole concept of being off grid applies to any place. Let's say, we all go through financial difficulties at some point. Worst thing in life is to get your electric cut off, you know, and have no power, and you feel embarrassed, and you look outside and you're like, oh my God, night is coming, and all the neighbors have lights, and I'm all dark here. And let me tell you, I grew up in Camden, New Jersey. I grew up in the ghetto, so I know what it is to get the power cut off, you know. And back in the day, well, the neighbors were good. They would throw you an extension cord. They don't do that no more, you know. So if you can somehow, like, if you live in the States and you get your check every year, your like tax refund. Here in Puerto Rico, we don't get the same amounts of tax refunds that they do in the States, so it's very different. But in the States, man, there are people get $7,000, $10,000 in tax refund, earned income credit, all that stuff. Man, you guys got no excuse. You guys got no excuse. You could be living right now for free. You could be living with having, you could be saving 200 something dollars a month, just deciding to live, with generating your own electric. Do you have to make an investment? Well, yeah, you got to buy a couple of things, but afterwards, the peace of mind is, you know, it's a lot of peace of mind when you're living off grid. A lot of peace of mind. Because that, for example, let's say it's Christmas coming, and you got to choose between paying your electric bill or buying your kids Christmas presents. Well, if you have a solar system, you're like, man, fuck it. I'm gonna get my kids Christmas presents. I'm gonna have a nice Christmas. If they cut the power off, I won't be without power because I got solar, and I'll just make it up in my next check. You see, it gives you the power. You know, it doesn't force you to leave your kids in Christmas with no Christmas presents just because you had to decide between paying the electric bill. Now, I'm not telling you to be irresponsible, but there are times in life that you kind of do You kind of got to break the norm a little bit just to be happy. So, you know, anyway, if you got any questions, feel free to ask, about anything about rainwater harvesting or electric, solar power, photovoltaic. And, that's what I'm here for. So I've been on here 10 minutes. I'm going to give another maybe 5 minutes of this video, since I know it is early and most people are at work right now. So, but, if you get to see this video afterwards, then, write to me in the comments, and I'll, log on like later on today, and, and we can talk about this a little bit. If you have any curiosity about it, and this applies not only living off grid for people who are into the trailer community, the mobile homes that they kind of like live everywhere, so I mean, if you have a mobile home and your mobile home doesn't have solar, well, the information that I can give you could probably set you up with a little, with a little power on the go, you know. So, but yeah, living off grid it's I like it, man. I really do. I really do. To me, it's like bragging rights. I always brag about it, you know, because the reason why I brag, and it isn't about an arrogance thing, is like a lot of time when you say that you live off grid, a lot of people try to look down as if, oh my God, they live like the Amish or something. And no, man, we got TV. I run my whole house, my whole recording studio, everything, radio, fan. I mean, there's really, like I said in the beginning of the video, the only thing I really don't have going is air conditioning, and it's because of how much energy goes towards that. But that can be basically taken care of with just a small investment. Build a little separate system just for that alone. So that's what's going on. But other than that, my experience living off grid has been a good one, especially the learning. Because I feel prepared for catastrophe, and it's empowering when you feel prepared for a coming catastrophe. All my friends that follow me and follow my channel know that during Hurricane Maria, I did an entire year without power. At the time, I knew absolutely nothing about solar. And let me tell you, when you have to do an entire year without power, and not only in your house, but the whole island was without power, you really learn that this is unacceptable. Got to generate your own power. You have to. Gotta have. And the empowering thing about it, is that if you know how to generate your own power, you know how to live off a grid, it's actually a very good business opportunity, because when everything goes down, you still have refrigeration. You can sell cold sodas to make money. You can, have a little refrigerator, and if you have a family member who has diabetes, hey, you can refrigerate their insulin. I mean, all of a sudden you become the man. So in a way, kind of way, a lot of us preppers, we are kind of looking forward to a certain collapse, kind of like to show our preps. I mean, it isn't that we want bad things to happen, but at the same time, it is kind of exciting to know that you're prepared for the apocalypse. Um, in terms of food wise, that is my next project. I need to establish an off grid preparedness in terms of food. I think I'm one of the very few people who was actually doing this in an urban setting, and that becomes a little more difficult, because if you have land, then you can do a lot with land. You can go fishing, but when you're in an urban setting, you're kind of limited to a backyard, and it is possible. So my plan at the moment is to have a few chickens for eggs. To do like a little chicken coop just for eggs. I'm not gonna kill the chickens. I like chickens. If I eat chicken, it's because I bought it at the supermarket. But I don't think I'd find myself, you know, I don't think I have the heart to kill a chicken that I raised. That because it's like I like animals, so when I see them and I see them like a little chick running around, and then then I befriend them, and I'm not gonna kill them to eat them. I'll take their eggs though. I'll take their eggs, but if I eat a chicken, it's gonna have to come from somewhere else, not the ones that I raise. But anyways, so I'm thinking of that. Maybe raised potatoes. I think eggs for protein, potatoes, good, great, good carbohydrate. Potatoes grow easily. Um, and I think condiments are very important. Condiments in case you do, get some fish or something to have. You should stock up on pepper and adobo and seasoning on salt. Because if we look at the past, there was a huge trade in spices, and it's because of that. Because anything, I'm telling you, as nasty as this might sound, but let's say at some point, right, there ain't nothing to eat, and all there is a couple of cats. Hey, I love cats, but if I gotta eat a cat, then I gotta eat it. So now, what's gonna make that cat eating what's gonna make it uh, more pleasurable? Well, the fact that if the cat is seasoned well and it tastes good, then you'll forget you're eating some damn cat. You know what I mean? Or a dog. It don't matter. Let me tell you, man. Once hunger strikes, once hunger strikes, everything's fair game. The other day, I saw these guys from Australia, and they were cooking up a gator. And here in Puerto Rico, we are used to we eat pork in Christmas. I love pork. I love eating pork. You know, so we eat pork in Christmas, and they put it on the outside under the coals, and they spin it around on right on top of the fire. You see the entire pig body right there, just spinning around in the fire. And so they were cooking this big alligator, in that same way. And I've never eaten alligator, but I'll tell you one thing. If I gotta taste some gator, I'll taste it. That shit look good. Big ass alligator getting cooked. I'll eat some gator. Oh hell yeah, I'll eat gator. I think I'd rather eat an alligator than eat like seafood. I think seafood is disgusting. I think shrimp and lobster, those look like those are insects. Those are They look just like cockroaches. I mean, whoever eats shrimp will eat a cockroach. It's a bigger version of the cockroach. It's a cockroach. So I won't eat that. I don't eat shrimp, nothing like that. I'll eat fish. I don't like fish too much, but I would eat it though. I don't like the taste. The only seafood that I eat is probably like fried fish, and it depends on the fish too. And I do eat octopus. You know, so that's weird, right? But octopus is kind of disgusting looking too. But oh well. But I mean, if you could set up like a chicken coop with eggs. If you got eggs every day and potatoes, I think you could live on egg and potatoes. Egg and potatoes every day. You keep that shit'll keep you alive. Egg and potatoes. I thought about rice, but then I saw how the rice grows over there, and you have to have like a field with water, and that's like the rice paddies in China and Cambodia. I'm like, hell no, I ain't doing that. I just eat potatoes. It's easier to grow. Potato. You know. Fruit. Fruit is good. Like I put in my yard. I planted 2 plantain trees. So green plantains taste really good. You can fry them. Make something called tostones. Also, when they become ripe, then they become ripe plantains, which taste really good too fried. They just taste sweet. And we call those amarillos. And so that'd be good. Some eggs from the chicken coop, some potatoes. You cut it up, the potato, and boil it, right? And then some potato, eggs, and some nice fried plantains. Shit, that's some good ass food, man. And then when you live in the tropics, you can plant like certain fruits, like lemons. Lemon trees will grow really nicely here, which is actually that's another thing I want. I want lemon, and passion fruit. What we call parcha. Parcha grows really easily. It's like a vine. It gets all messy and shit, but you can make some really good damn juice with lemon and some parchas. And fruit will grow here really easily. So those are my plans. I'm gonna turn my backyard into like a little farm, you know, and you know, just to be able to live sustainably, you know. If anything goes down with the government, with whatever, if there's an economic collapse, you know, that's where my mentality is. I'm not a doomsday prepper per se, because I believe that, you know, I'm a Christian, so I believe that before doomsday even arrives, we'll be raptured up with Jesus anyway. So if I leave my preps behind, you know, I hope somebody, you know, enjoys them, you know. But in the meantime, stuff can happen, you know, power outages, hurricanes, tornadoes, floods, stuff like that, you know. And if you have some preps, you know, you're ahead of the curve, you know. Anyways, those are my experiences, guys. Anyway, so I'm gonna cut this video short. Thank you for logging on. If you got to this video and I'm already off, leave your comments below. And I'll, you know, if I see a couple of comments, I'll come back on later on today and, you know, resume this subject and just to take any questions from anybody. So take care. God bless you. May the Lord Jesus Christ bless each and every one of you. Peace.